We're live! Welcome to the new episode of Ask Me About My Draculas. If you're unfamiliar with the show, we explain urban fantasy and supernatural books, movies, and TV shows. One person on the show has to be unfamiliar with what we are talking about, so they get explained to and can ask questions. I am one of your hosts, Kel McDonald, and I draw comics that you can read at kelmcdonald.com.
And I am Ma'at Crook, and I just found out today that me and my husband Tyler are up for a letter on a Ghastly Award.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Woo. And we have an awesome guest today.
My name is Abby Howard. I draw the webcomics Last Halloween and Junior Scientist Power Hour, and I'm funny.
Today talk about Circus Du Freak, or how do you say it? Cirque
Du Freak. Like Cirque du Soleil.
Okay, Cirque Du Freak, which is weird in French. But Ma'at and I both haven't seen it, so mostly Abby's going to do the explaining. As we started doing recently in most shows, everyone who hasn't seen it is going to try to explain what they think it is about. So, Ma'at, do you want to go first, or should I?
I'll go first because mine's probably, my idea of what it is probably the most obvious. It sounds like, when I first heard you say it, I thought it was like Cirque du Soleil's reenactment of the old black and white movie Freaks.
That would be cool.
That would.
Yeah. So I have sort of a vague idea of what it's about, so I'm going to actually just go completely off the rails and make something up.
Okay.
I am going to assume that if I was just given this title, I would assume that it is about a French freak show and the horrors entailed during said French freak show, and maybe the freaks are up to no good, or maybe someone is abusing them, and since this is the Dracula show, I'm going to say they fight vampires.
Vampire minds.
That's just a small part. It's mostly everything else, and then every now and then they have to kill a vampire. That's all.
Okay.
So what it really is a young adult fiction book series, also a film. And it's about a kid who has to become a half-vampire to save his friend's life, and then hijinks ensue, and he winds up in the middle of some sort of vampire war. So, I didn't get to that part. I only read the first 3 books.
When you say that he becomes a half-vampire, what does that entail, and how is that different from being a regular vampire?
I guess he can go out in the day, and he doesn't have to drink as much blood. That seems to be the only difference. Also, he's like an assistant, hence the name of the second book, The Vampire's Assistant, where he just does errands, he feeds the pet spider. Oh yeah, the reason why he has to save his friend's life is because he takes... Okay, so the freak part, there is a freak show involved for part of it. For some reason. It seems kind of tangential to everything, but, fun.
Okay.
The main vampire was part of this freak show, and he had this pet spider who he did tricks with, and it was super fun. And then these 2 kids, Steve and Darren. Darren Sean, the main character, is also named after the author, so that's kind of, alright, come on, dude.
So he's
but it's supposed to be a true story, so told in the third person. But, so they both wind up going to this freak show, and then, Steve recognizes a vampire and is like, that's the guy. I know that guy. He's a vampire. So after the show, he goes to this guy's office and is like, I want to become a vampire. And the guy's like, no, you have bad blood. You can't. You're evil. So the guy leaves.
Vampires can tell if you're going to become an evil vampire or a good vampire just by looking at you?
Well, he tasted his blood. He was like, all right, kid, fine. I'm not supposed to turn kids into vampires, but sure, I'll give you a shot. And then tastes his blood and is like, oh, you're evil. Get out, leave forever. And the kid is like, ah!
Whether or not you're evil is in the taste of your blood. Got it.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Come on, Kel. It's just logic. Science. But, so Meanwhile, this kid was trying to steal the spider because he really likes spiders and was like, man, I like that guy's spider. I want it, so I'll go steal it. Sure. So he was hiding in the closet and saw all this happen with the spider, and then he ran away with his little spider friend and kind of just has fun with his spider friend. But then his friend Steve gets real jealous and is like, or not jealous. I guess he's just kind of pissed because his friend doesn't want to hang out with him anymore because he saw that whole you have bad blood thing. And is like, oh, my friend Steve's evil. All right. I won't hang out with him anymore, I guess.
Take this random supposed vampire's word that my friend is evil and ditch him.
Yeah, get rid of that guy. So, then Steve winds up breaking into his friend's house and, like, plays with his spider. And then the guy's younger sister runs in and is like, I'm a younger sister, gets bit. No, wait, Steve gets bit. Sorry. Fuck that up. Younger sister, why is she even there? Anyway, but then Steve gets bit, and Darren is like, oh, I must get the antidote. So he goes to the vampire guy, and the vampire guy is like, become my half-vampire assistant, and I'll save your friend. So that happens, and then this guy, Darren, of course, is just like, oh, woe is me. I don't want to be a vampire or a half-vampire. This life is so sad. He has to fake his own death and come back from the dead. And his friend catches on that he's not really dead, and his friend is like, but I wanted to be a vampire, so he swears vengeance forever on his friend. It's like, I'm going to come back as a vampire hunter.
Maybe that assumption that this guy is evil is not that far off, because we have him committing breaking and entering, and now swearing vengeance against someone.
Yep. Just out of jealousy, not even...
Yeah.
I drew a picture of the spider who loves his half-vampire. The spider loves him too. Wait, the kid that steals the spider is the one that turns into a half-vampire?
Yeah, then he gets to hang out with the spider all the time. Everybody gets a half-vampire.
Forever.
Yeah.
So, what type of spider is it? Is it a special magic spider?
Basically, they're just like, oh, this cool spider in the film, which actually is really fun. I'll get to that in a second. I like that movie, but it's like this big colorful thing. It's like this big bird-sized, and it's friendly and cute. And it's like, nice spider. Madame Octa, it even has a name. Of course it does. So then this kid is like a half vampire, and the guy goes and gets him, and he's like, well, let's go back to the freak show, and that's where I live. Let's go live there now. So then they go and hang out at the freak show for a whole book, and it's really fun, actually.
Where's this kid's parents or guardians?
Oh, well, he faked his death, so they think he's dead. Then that's never really talked about again. It's like, oh yeah, well, bye family, bye forever.
Yeah.
No problem. Just ditch him. You're fine.
Yeah.
So then he meets Ever the Snake Boy, who I had a tremendous crush on.
So I have a question. So when you say that it was young adult, it sounds more like it is actually kid-focused.
I think it might be.
Yeah, because
for a bit, at least. Then it gets like violence.
Like what Harry Potter does, where it starts as a kid's book and then grows into young adult.
Yeah, I think that was it. Because I figured this kid was like 12 at the most in the book. So, yeah, it seems like a children's book. Then the second one, it ends with like a werewolf biting off this dude's arms, and it's graphically described. And then this kid's friend winds up getting mauled to death by the werewolf. Then he has to finally drink blood, because all book he's been like, no, I mustn't drink human blood. It's wrong and horrible. I'll never be a monster like you. But then at the end he's like, I'm going to drink this guy's blood so that I can preserve part of his soul, because apparently that's a vampire thing.
Okay. What does preserving part of his soul do?
That's what I'm wondering.
The kid had like a fondness for pickled onions, and so this guy then has a fondness for pickled onions, and that's it.
Like, preserving this person's soul does not actually benefit said person in any way.
No, it just kind of makes them part of you, I guess. I guess it was just kind of a comforting thing for the half-vampire kid, and that's it. Yeah.
What is when he drinks human blood, though? Does that mean that he's now a full vampire, or is just that sort of just there's no turning back point?
He's just still half vampire.
Okay.
I guess they have to like do some kind of other thing to be a full vampire.
Like drinking blood basically just doesn't matter, and he put it off for no real good reason.
Yep, I mean he was all weak or whatever because he can't eat real food even though he's only a half vampire. It seems like that would be part of it. You can eat real food, but Anyway, so he's just a wimp. Doesn't want to be a vampire. Why wouldn't you want to be a vampire, you dummy?
It sounds like being a full vampire would be better than the half vampire bullshit that he's stuck with, but...
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can go out in the daytime for whatever that's worth, but who wants to do that? The sun's so bright and stupid and warm. You know one needs that.
It's not like he's going to go visit his family and hang out in the park.
Nope, it's not like he has any friends.
Yeah.
Except for Ever the Snake Boy.
Kid. Yeah, the Snake Kid. They're buds.
Yeah. In the movie, he's real hot. The Snake Boy. Just saying. I mean, he's that guy. I don't remember his name, but he's in lots of things. And he's super hot. He just has some scales. It's not a problem. Though, it's not accurate because he has hair also, and that's Harlequinichthyosis babies don't have hair, but also he is clearly actually half snake instead of Harlequinichthyosis, so... But even a snake doesn't have hair.
So in the books, he's not like a supernatural freak. He's just a person who has a medical condition.
Nah, they're all supernatural weirdos. And I'm just like, but they're real freaks. You don't need this. They're actually snake people. You just use one of those. It's the same. Also, when he shakes a dude's hand, some of his scales come off, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm shedding. That's not how shedding works. It comes off in one big sheet. If it's coming off in little particles, you got a problem. You should go get that looked at, Snake Boy. That's my professional opinion of what he should do, Snake Boy. There are other vampires. Like, these vampires, there are, like, two warring factions of vampires in the book. Half the vampires are the good guys, and they don't kill people. They just, like, take a little bit, and they have healing spit, so they just, like, heal the cut. And they have, like, breath that makes a person pass out, so they just breathe on them, take a little bit, and then leave. And it's kind of embarrassing.
Because it's okay to violate someone if they don't have any idea that you're doing it to them.
Of course, they'll wake up and they'll be fine. It's not like you also leave them in the street unconscious and that could cause a problem. That's fine. No, it's great.
It's not like you stole anything from them or violated any personal space, sarcasm.
It's totally fine.
Yeah, this is totally good messages to send the kids. They're the great. No one knows that you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as they don't know, there's no harm.
In the second book, it opens with like this graphic description, graphic quote unquote, of this scoutmaster's gross chubby leg, and it made me feel so self-conscious because it's exactly what my legs look like, and I'm like, I'm an idiot. So hey, lesson to everybody: don't describe people disgustingly.
No, this is not Dracula related, but I've been listening to the audiobook of Les Mis, and everyone in that is gross.
Ugh.
The way they're all described, it's like he's basically going, what is the grossest way I can describe these people, and then go with that.
Wow.
So yeah, the other vampires are the evil vampires, and they're just like, I'm gonna drain this person of all their blood, and then it makes them look weird because they get like purple skin and red hair and stuff, and they look all messed up, and they live in the sewers or something. We meet one of those in the third book.
Say red hair, like someone who's a redhead, or like it is bright red, like crayon red.
I feel like blood red would be appropriate. Yeah. Vampires, they're called the Vampanese, and they're evil because they kill people, and I think they also kill other vampires by drinking their vampire blood, because they don't give a shit about no rules. They live by their own rules. They're obviously the cool guys, and they're much cooler.
Does it happen when they drink vampire blood instead of pupil blood?
Nah, they're fine.
Okay, so it's just they don't get any pluses or bonuses. It's just to be a dick.
Yeah, they just want to kill vampires, especially if the vampire's like, hey, don't kill people. Because also the Vampanese only survive for like a few years versus the hundreds of years that these other vampires live, because they get caught really fast. Because they kill people. Which is logical, which is pretty cool. So, good job, writer. Yeah.
I really wish they had picked a different name than Vampanese. It totally sounds like Japanese. Like
it sounds like a little bit Yellow Peril.
It does. Yeah. Sounds kind of bad.
It sounds
with a Z instead of an S, so it's totally fine. Different. You could pick any word you wanted, but no, Vampanese.
Yeah.
They could have, they just could have done like vampire spelled with a Y and vampire spelled with an I, since it's a book.
And then they could call them the vampire in the film.
Yeah, they could have just done that. and not done the yellow peril thing.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so what else?
So that was
how's
the first 2 books, or did you just...
The third one has the Vampanese in it, because most of the book is just, there's a guy in the sewers and he's killing everyone, and I, the half-vampire, think it's my vampire guy is doing it, so I'm going to follow him around until I figure it out. So most of the book you're just like, oh no, he's turned evil, but then at the end it's like, no, it's just this guy. Then they kill him, and then apparently if the Vampanese find out that they killed this guy, they're going to get hunted to the ends of the earth, which I assume happens, because there are like 12 books. I only read the first 3. There's 12 books.
Wow.
I'm not reading the rest because it gets real serious, and I'm like, I don't care anymore.
So the thing is, so the reason why I asked about the YA thing is, so usually in kids' books, the conflict is usually about preserving the status quo, because the theory is that kids find the status quo comforting. And then when you are slowly moving to YA, it becomes about overthrowing the status quo, because that appeals to a teenager who's more rebellious. So, like, a good example of growing into YA would be Harry Potter, where it starts out where Harry has to stop Voldemort and, like, protect the wizarding way of life that he's just been introduced to. Like, this is how wizards do things, and Voldemort's threatening that, and Harry has to stop him. And then as the books go on, you then get introduced to the Ministry of Magic, who is corrupt and just as bad as, like, Voldemort, and so Harry has to also overthrow that.
It sounds like one of the themes for this book is just independence.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
This kid is going to carve his own path, because it is implied that, like, for one thing, there's going to be a huge war because of this kid somehow, and then also his friend is involved as some sort of vampire hunter and comes back later, and they fight a lot. But it's more like, I'm not going to conform to your rules. I'm a vampire who's going to be better than everybody else. Because even the people, it used to be that everybody would just kill all the time, and then it was like, now we're going to be the good guys. So.
Okay. So it is a little Harry Potter-ish, too.
I guess so.
About changing the rules.
I think the apocalypse happens in one of the books, because it's called something with the apocalypse in it, and they keep referring to this apocalypse character, and I'm just like, I don't want to bother with that. It sounds really funny. But hey, I'm sure it's great.
Yeah.
I'll just wait until the rest of the movies come out and watch those. They do a much better job than the films.
How is the movie
more
different?
Than one movie? I thought there was only one movie.
There's only one movie. They're not going to make any more.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
But the movie's super good. I was not, super good. I was surprised, so it feels like it's better than it probably is. John C. Reilly in it is strange. He's a serious character. Like, that character's the most serious one. I'm just like, It's just weird to see him like that. But the effects, most of them are practical effects, so I appreciate that a lot. It's funny, I thought. I laughed several times.
I have, like, vague memories of seeing it. Like, it was one of those things where it's like, I think I saw it, but I also, like, I'm pretty sure the main kid in it is played by the guy who's the voice of Hiccup in How to Train Your Dragon.
That makes sense.
And then there was one period of time where he was in, like, 6 different fantasy movies. Whereas, like, sort of the Apprentice character to someone else. And so I knew that, like, I had seen, like, 3 out of, like, the 6 that came out.
Because there was that one with Nicolas Cage, right? That came out.
Yeah, there was the Nicolas Cage one. And then there was another one that was, like, really, really bad. It was just sort of, like, a weird period of time where he was just in a bunch of movies suddenly. But yeah, so I wasn't sure, like, if I had seen it, but because you said, like, John C. Reilly's in it, it's like, oh, yes, then I have seen it.
But I actually would recommend this movie to people. I'm going to watch it again.
Is the main character's name Steve?
Yes. No.
No.
The asshole friend's character is Steve. Darren is the main character.
Darren. Okay.
Named after the author. Because it's a true story, you see.
Oh, wow.
Also, Willem Dafoe plays a vampire that is extremely sexy.
Willem Dafoe is a vampire?
Willem Dafoe is in it. Salma Hayek is in it.
Who does Salma Hayek play?
The bearded lady who also is a fortune teller, but the beard only comes sometimes because, of course, you can't have a woman with a beard all the time. That would just be gross.
Aww.
She looks so pretty with the beard, though.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I do have vague memories of this. It was like William Dafoe is there at the meeting where they decide that so-and-so is evil.
Yeah, he's there.
Yes,
He's
okay.
got weird makeup on to seem like he's a person, and it's very well done and very cute, and he's very hot.
So the werewolf one, like, the guy who got his arm ripped off by a werewolf, is he then a one-armed werewolf later on?
He gets both arms ripped off. That might have killed him. He doesn't come back. I think he dies forever. And I think the kid also dies forever. I think. Or maybe he becomes another werewolf and it's like, now we have two werewolves. Because he was just like this asshole hippie who was like, I'm going to shut this down. You're being inhumane to these people. And so he tries to free the werewolf and then the werewolf kills him. So
That's funny.
It's fun.
That's right.
The werewolf is really fun in the movie. It's a design I hadn't seen a lot with a really big snout, and I think it was really cute.
I remember the werewolf in the movie. I remember, like, the snake kid.
Yeah.
And
All he wants to do is play music. And it's adorable. Lots of boys to crush on in that movie.
this is the important parts of
Yes.
werewolf.
Who should I bone in this film? Abby's Guide to Boning this film.
But in the movie, they're all adults, right?
Yeah, they're like teens, but they're the teens that are actually 20. So it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It's like that thing where Buffy is the oldest high schooler in the world. Actually, Xander is the oldest high schooler in the world. Like, I looked it up. Like, Xander's like 10 years older than everyone.
And I think Evra, whatever, is played by someone who is much older, but also not even supposed to be a teen. He's just like a young adult. So he's all game. He's great. And Willem Dafoe is like 1,000,000 years old in real life, not even as a vampire. So
William Dafoe is always 1,000,000 years old. Never young.
I'm looking at Willem Dafoe to see what he looked like in the movie. I looked up Cirque. Oh, whoa, he's got a John Waters mustache.
yeah, he's. Oh wait, that's not the. He looks hot with it though. He's like supposed to look like he's from the 20s or the 10s or whatever.
The
'Cause
lady
that's-
with the beard looks awesome.
Yeah, it's Salma Hayek. It's a really cute beard. It looks hot.
It does. She looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What was the explanation they gave for why she sometimes has a beard?
I have not gotten to that part. It just kind of is there. I think it's when she's seeing the future or like when she's really excited.
Huh.
I don't know. It just seems to happen sometimes. Oh, I have a beard now, I guess. All right.
She can shave it and then magically grow it again as soon as she needs it.
I think it grows and then falls out and then grows again. I have no idea. It just sometimes is there and sometimes isn't. And I'm like, why not just all the time?
Yeah.
Anyway,
here-
she's got really cool glitter on her eyelashes too that makes it look like she's crying all the time, but in a very cool way.
The snake boy is green.
Yeah. They should have picked another pattern. But you know, it's fine. It's alright.
Okay.
Still boneable.
Okay, so what were the redeeming qualities of the books?
They were quick reads. I read them all in like a day, and I was like, I'm reading so fast. And I think the reason I stopped was I was just like, Mom, look how fast I read these books. Be proud of me. And she was like, oh, those books are trash. And I'm like, Mom, oh no. And I was like, okay, I'll never read them again.
How long have they been around?
Gosh, I was 15 maybe? But they had been around before then because there were at least 3 at that point.
Wow. Okay.
Is it one of those things where, like, you read all the ones that were available, and then by the time the next one came out, like, you didn't care about it anymore?
Yeah, I think I had forgotten about it. But I think it was like a library thing, so my library probably also just had some of the later books, but not the fourth one. I was like, well, I'll wait till they have the fourth one, and then totally forgot. Because my mom told me, she shamed me for reading trashy vampire fiction.
She's all, there's a lady with a beard in there. She's disgusting. You shouldn't read this.
Or, this is for children. Why aren't you reading No Exit like your sister? And directing Waiting for Godot like your sister, who's a stupid intellectual, and I hate her. Why can't I just read my trashy vampire fiction?
I have never had that conversation with my mom.
I'm sure she never actually said it, but I could tell she was just like, this one is going to have some interesting things.
If she ever accused me of reading trashy vampire fiction, I would just be like, yeah, because your poor Lifetime original movie version books are like so much better. My mom reads a lot of like, this battered woman escapes and isn't it tragic sort of books. And then she get me to read them, and I'm like, I don't want to read about ladies getting beaten all the time.
No. My mom let me get a book from a gas station one time on a long trip, and I got V, the alien one. It used to be a alien TV show.
Roswell?
V. It's called V.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah. And I read like almost halfway through, past tons of cuss words, some sex, some killing, and my mom looked over my shoulder one time and saw just one of those pages, and it was thrown in the trash.
No.
I never finished V.
Now you can never go back. It's too late for you.
I haven't. I'm 42 and I haven't gone and gotten V. I should just do it.
I feel like
I'm an adult now.
if you haven't wanted to go back to it, you probably don't need to go back to it.
Probably.
So wait, was V a book first, and then
I think it was the mini-series first, and then they did the book after it.
Okay. It's weird when they do that. I remember in high school reading...
But I was 12. I was 12, so I could have that wrong.
I remember in high school reading a novelization of one of the Resident Evil games.
I've done that before, and it's really boring.
Yeah. It was, as it turns out, what makes a good video game is different than what makes a good story.
Yeah.
You walk into a room and there's another zombie there. In a book, you don't want to see that, but in a movie or a video game, it's like, yeah, there's a zombie to kill.
And she walks down the hallway, and she turns right into a gazebo. Although I don't know how you would get from a hallway to a gazebo. I'm skipping some steps there. Through a graveyard to a gazebo.
We still got a half hour left, so I'm going to explain to you the Sorcerer's Apprentice, since it has the same actor playing the main character.
And is also an Apprentice movie, like The Vampire's Apprentice.
Yeah, basically, Nicolas Cage dresses up as Harry Dresden and is a wizard. And it is vaguely tied to the Sorcerer's Apprentice, like the Disney Anastasia clip. So they do manage to get tons and tons of broom automatons cleaning the house. They do manage to get that scene in there.
Oh.
Have you ever seen it, Abby?
Fantasia, like the part of Fantasia.
No, the Sorcerer's Assistant.
It's not good.
But also that's my least favorite Fantasia clip. I hate it.
So this doofy kid finds a weird thing in an antique shop, and Nicolas Cage Harry Dresden pops out and says, I am a wizard, and now I'm going to teach you magic because you not only let me out, but you also let Dr. Octopus out of this magical country.
Dr. Octopus?
Dr. Octopus! The guy who plays Dr. Octopus plays the villain. So It's basically Nicolas Cage, Harry Dresden was trained by Merlin, and Dr. Octopus was trained by Morgan Le Fay. And so he is going to, like, let Morgan Le Fay out so she can, like, take over the world. And this guy, and Nicolas Cage, Harry Dresden, is all like, we have to stop him, but I don't have my shit together enough, so I'm going to train you to help me. Because you found the weird doodad that let us both out.
Where did he find said doodad?
It was like in an antique shop.
Just sitting on a shelf.
Yeah, someone was...
But see, it was his destiny.
Someone picked it up and put it there on the shelf. And
he, like, fiddled with it and then accidentally opened it. And so, like, it's...
And he probably had the magic within him to open it.
Yeah, so, like...
So it's his fault.
Yeah. So then, hijinks ensues. There's a lot of, like, dumb special effects that happen. We get the mop broom assistant scene going out of control, and Nicolas Cage yells at the kid. Then we have Nicolas Cage, Harry Dresden, has, like, some long-lost love who was, like, the third apprentice to Merlin or something. Oh, you know what? The main kid is, like, the reincarnation of Merlin or something. That's why he could open it and no one else could.
Okay.
So he's the chosen one.
But Nicolas Cage just needs to take responsibility for his own actions and not blame it on some kid.
Well, it was more he needs help, and since this kid is the chosen one, that means the kid gets trained.
Okay.
He's chosen one reincarnation of Merlin. Then it turns out, like, Nicolas Cage, Harry Dresden, has, like, some long-lost love tragedy going on. Because I guess Nicolas Cage, Morgan Le Fay, and this, like, random lady were all, like, apprentices of Merlin. Dr. Octopus is a really good villain, both in Spider-Man and in this. He's very good at, like, campy villain dialogue. Kudos to that actor, whose name I don't remember.
Huh.
Shit, what is it? Fuck.
I'm looking it up on IMDb.
Our savior. Harold something. Whatever. I'm trying to draw.
It's Dr. Octopus, and he does a decent enough job being a villain in this too. You know, if someone said, if movie people ever decided to adapt the Dresden File book Deadbeat when Dresden has to fight all the necromancers, if they said this guy who plays Dr. Octopus should be one of the necromancers, I would be on board. Because their whole fights are very Harry Dresden versus Evil Wizards-y.
Do you remember the name of the character? The
No.
villain character?
No.
Hold on. Let me look up Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, if you look up Spider-Man...
Alfred Molina.
Yeah.
Alfred Molina.
So then it turns out that, like, Morgan Le Fay, to get more power, somehow merged with Nicolas Cage, Harry Dresden's lost love. So she's, like, inside his old girlfriend's body. So that's why he can never, like, have the heart to kill her. Because Dr. Octopus does eventually, like, release Morgan Le Fay, and then it's up to main character kid to stop her. Because it wouldn't be a really generic Chosen One story if that didn't happen.
The kid's responsibility to fix Nicolas Cage's love life.
Yes. Or more just kill Nicolas Cage's girlfriend, because I don't think he actually fixes it. He just, like, kills him.
Oh, no.
Because, you know, she's evil and needs to be stopped. She's going to blow up the world.
But love is more important than
Those ladies, when they get power, they just go evil.
Yeah.
Yep. Women sure do love to blow shit up if they have powers.
Those women.
We can't trust them at anything. Their uterus is really...
Controls them.
Yep.
And I will say, like, this plot is way more complicated than you would expect for... We're going to make a movie out of this short clip from Fantasia. Because it's like... So kudos to whoever, like, figured out, okay, I gotta make a movie out of this, like, tiny clip. And then they just built up this whole, like, thing. It's kind of chosen one by the numbers, but, like, he at least fit in the Fantasia part and got it vaguely connected.
But it's not, like, a pivotal part of the movie.
It's just to show that, like, he has too much power or something like that, and that's why and he needs to control it.
Mm.
And then there's, like, he has some love interest who I don't even remember being involved in the plot, but, you know, he pines after her a bit, and...
Always gotta have your teen romance.
Yeah.
We always have to have some type of romance.
In the Cirque Du Freak.
We got two. We got, Unrequited Love from Merlin Reincarnated Hiccup, and then we also got Nicolas Cage's Lost Love, who is actually Morgan Le Fay.
And she gets killed.
Yeah. So they kill one, and then the other gets to live.
Great. In Cirque Du Freak, in the movie, there is a monkey girl who doesn't look anything like a monkey, of course, but she does go, ooh, ah, ah, sometimes, and apparently has a tail that we haven't seen yet, because I didn't actually finish the movie. I'll get there. I'm sure it's great.
I think you get to see her tail. I remember a tail.
Cute. Anyway, but she's just like, will you still like me even if I have a tail? Which, God, she's so pretty. Anyway, then apparently, like, in the book, in the third one, there was some chick named Debbie, and he and Evra, the snake boy, who winds up traveling around with them, thankfully, the best character. Then they meet her, and of course Evra's like, alright, whatever, I'm a snake boy, I don't get nothing. And then the main character's like, aha, woman for me. And then they start dating, and it's kind of dumb. Then of course the evil vampire is like, aha, weakness.
Yeah, we can now attack this convenient plot device.
Yep. But it's nice that the dude makes friends, I guess. He was so sad about not making any friends. Even though he has Ever the Snake Boy, who's the best. You have a friend. God.
You're
Dummy.
the coolest friend.
He's so angsty about how he doesn't want to drink blood and how he doesn't have any friends and he had to fake his own death and abandon his family. God, suck it up.
He needs to get better at this shit. Yeah. So maybe it is YA and not like a children's book. Based on the movie, I had assumed it was a kid's book.
The movie is the lighthearted parts of the first two, and then a little bit of the third one with the whole there's evil vampires, and also it's like funny and stuff, so it's lighthearted. And then it gets dark, because everything always gets dark, but not the movie.
Grimdark.
Grimdark. Everybody starts being sad, and they make sad faces, and they grow beards, and they wear black.
And then they say, all by myself.
No one understands these poor teens. This teen vampire. Oh yeah, everyone's really pissed at this guy for making him into a half vampire, because they're like, he's just a child, he's just a boy, and it's never,
Is he older? Or is he 12 forever?
Well, since he's a half vampire, I assume he's going to age at some point, but probably really slowly. So anyway, but the guy's just like, I shouldn't have done this, and it's like, yeah, you really shouldn't have. What? Yeah. Like, he was the one who came up with it. He was just like, I want an assistant. I'm gonna turn you into a half vampire, you child. It wasn't like he was like, well, he forced my hand. I had no choice.
Yeah, this guy, I think, did not think things through. Like, all that kid wanted was, like, a cure for, like, some venom. Like, he could have just said, you gotta help out with the freak show. He didn't have to make him a vampire. There are flaws in John C. Reilly Vampire's logic.
Hey, man, sometimes characters are flawed. They make bad decisions that don't make any sense, and
sometimes the writers write stuff that is flawed.
They're just like, I want to be a half vampire. Even though it's against the rules for kids to be made into vampires, and this guy's a totally rational vampire who's like on the good side of the Council of Vampires or whatever.
It would have made more sense if the main kid if like his shitty friend stole the spider.
Yeah, for
and
real.
the main kid got bit by the spider, and then they needed the antidote was that he had to become half vampire.
See, Kel, that's why you make comic books.
Because you know how to tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, young adult authors should not make things.
Well, some could. And
Young
by the
adult
way,
books are great, though.
Grimdark is my superhero name.
Are you also the most grimdark one? Even more grimdark than Batman?
Oh,
Or the
Batman.
Punisher?
I don't brood that much. Maybe a
If
little.
you brooded anymore, you wouldn't have any time to take care of the city.
Yeah, that's right. So what else? Either from Sorcerer's Apprentice or from Cirque Du Freak. What else should we know? Is there a tie-in there?
Just the main characters played by the same guy.
Okay.
So obviously, these are alternate dimensions, alternate universes.
Yeah, I mean, if he's like the assistant chosen one, clearly all of these movies that he was in, he is just like they're all just
Chosen
alternate.
one who stumbles upon this thing first before this other thing first.
Where do they live in Circus Du Freak?
Some shitty suburban town, and then in the middle of nowhere because he's part of some weird fair freak show, so he just kind of lives in the woods in a tent with all the other freaks.
Somewhere where there's a
So
suburb.
it takes place in the U.S.
Oh, yes, in the U.S. These are all United States vampires, sort of.
So, like all movies that didn't really think their plot points through or were really lazy with their plot points, Sorcerer's Apprentice takes place in New York City.
It doesn't look like it from the clips.
Is it one of those where it's like abandoned all the time, even though it's New York City? I love it when that happens.
It's definitely New York City.
Put it in New York. That's
Be,
when everything happens.
it might be Toronto pretending to be New York City, but like the movie says that it's New York City.
I don't remember New York City being so green and smoggy.
It's future.
It might also be like magic stuff.
All right.
Foggy. I'm gonna look it up. You see what I was saying though about it's Nicolas Cage doing Harry Dresden impress.
Yeah, he's totally got the long coat.
I'm gonna pull it up. Here you go, audience. You can see Nicolas Cage pretending to be Harry Dresden. There's the main kid and his girlfriend who doesn't really do anything.
Aww.
She's the cheerleader. She makes sure that his heart is pure.
Nicolas Cage fighting Dr. Octopus. I don't know why Dr. Octopus is behind him.
That's good makeup, though, on him. He looks really good.
Here's Dr. Octopus again. Nicolas Cage, Harry Dresden yelling at Merlin Incarnate. They're talking about girls, I assume.
Even though there's no real positive female
Morgan
characters.
Le Fay / Nicolas Cage's girlfriend.
If she had a beard, she would look awesome too.
Yeah, more ladies should have beards in movies, I think.
So yeah, here we go. It's Nicolas Cage, Harry Dresden teaching.
Ugh, that hat. Is that part of the movie? Does he wear that hat?
Does wear that hat.
No. Ugh.
So he's doing Harry Dresden cosplay without having read the books. He only looked at the book covers.
I totally feel like telling y'all about Valley Girl, which is not supernatural at all.
Well, if you can do it in 15 minutes, then why not?
Did y'all ever see Nicolas Cage's first role?
No.
It was in the 80s. He was pretty young.
Here's some Yellow Peril, because this is one of the many.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Come on. Oh, Ken Yaramada? Yeah, is that his name? Ken Watanabe, that one, is actually in this movie. And the chick who plays Jenna Maroney on 30 Rock, weird. It's a weird movie. Not Sorcerer's Apprentice, Cirque Du Freak. It's just got so many people in it. And yet it's about shitty vampire books. Why did this happen?
Well, sometimes when a movie, like, they're making it and people know it's not good, they throw money at famous people so that people will still go see it.
I've learned a lesson today. Money.
Like, the more A-list actors in a movie, the more you should be wary of that movie. My experience.
So, tell us about...
Seeing Ocean's 11.
Ugh.
Tell you about Valley Girl?
Yeah.
All right, it's been a while since I've seen it, but it is one of my favoriteest movies, and I totally fell in love with Nicolas Cage because of it when I was a teenager. It's set in the 80s, and it's made in the 80s. There's a rich girl, and I can't remember her name, so, wait, Julie. Julie is her name. Holy mackerel. Julie is her parents are hippies, and they live in the valley, and her parents own a health food store. And she is pretty well off. And she falls in love with Nicolas Cage, a punk rock guy, but it's one of those rocky relationships at first where she hates him and she's really mean to him, and he jokes around and makes fun of her for being a privileged white kid, rich kid in the valley, a valley girl, and she looks down on him for being a poor punk rock kid, orphan.
Make fun of the orphan. It's great.
Yeah. Julie has an abusive boyfriend, and all that she broke up with. But all of her friends at school tell her what a horrible decision she made because she really should be with Brad, I think is his name, and which of course is his name. And he has a sweater that he drapes over his shoulders, polo shirts, pink polo shirts, and he is a jerk. He's a total jerk. And because her friends keep on telling her that she really broke Brad's heart and she should get back together with him, she resists, and she actually starts to fall in love with Nicolas Cage, which I think his name is Randy. She falls in love with Randy. And she confides in her closest friend, who it turns out was manipulated and coerced into having sex with Brad, so sexually assaulted, and her friend says, I don't know, just do whatever you feel like is right, Julie. And so she does. She hooks up back with Brad. So then there's a big party. Randy shows up, crashes the party. There's a fight. And Julie and Randy get together at the high school prom.
When you say fight, fist fight or like just arguing?
There is some physical fighting. I think at first Brad wins, but then at the prom, Randy gets in that last punch in the face.
Okay.
And then it ends in a limousine with Modern English singing, I'll da 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 and melt with you.
Yeah.
We've seen the difference and it's getting better all the time. Yay, wonderful ending, perfect movie.
These high schoolers will be together forever, just like high schoolers always are. True love forever.
Yep. The end.
It messes me up when there's characters named Brad who are jerks.
Do you know someone that is named Brad who isn't a jerk?
The werewolf in Sorcerer 101, his name is Brad, and he's an ineffectual dork.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You're breaking the stereotype here.
There you go.
Yep. You're a true
It was really bad
revolutionary.
because, like, right when I started Sorcerer 101, we read this book in high school that was about, like, this neo-Nazi girl who somehow, like, in her dreams time travels to, like, being a Jew during the Holocaust, and, like, and that's how she learns that her neo-Nazi ways are bad. But so her neo-Nazi boyfriend is named Brad.
Oh, no. So that's why you chose the name?
No, it was just like, oh, no, I can't do this.
Yeah, Brad is a stereotype.
Yep.
Yep. Brad, Chet, Biff. It used to be a name before it was a sound effect.
It was a pretty long time ago that Biff was a sound effect, though. Maybe Biff came back around in the 80s.
Yep.
We gotta bring it back now, every 20 years.
It's been more than 20 years.
Man, you know what names I hate? Hunter and Chase.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of the name Hunter.
Okay. Vampire Hunter?
No, Lisa Frank married a man whose last name is Green. They have 2 sons. One kid's name is Hunter and one kid's name is Forrest. So their sons' names are Hunter Green and Forrest Green.
Oh. Hunter and Forrest, like those names.
Lisa Frank, the lady that did the binders?
All the, like, super colorful things.
She's also insane. Well, not insane. She's just very horrible.
Eccentric?
She
In a bad way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She, like, didn't pay artists very much. She verbally abused them all the time. She thought her company was much bigger than it was. They refused to sell stuff even though it's coming back. Like, people who were young and grew up with it want to buy it now for nostalgia's sake, and she's just like, no, I won't sell it. And that kind of stuff. So.
She's kind of a crazy recluse.
Yep.
And it's apparently she thinks her company's bigger than it is because her husband lied to her a lot. There's some weird scandal going on that, like, if you Google it, I'm sure you'll find articles about it.
If she had done that style with vampires and werewolves, as a kid, I may have been more interested.
I like the kitty cat ones.
Listen,
I'm all about them kitty
Well,
cats.
if it had been cat people, then I would have been interested in it. But just the kitty cat, no.
listen, those raccoons that were bright purple were awesome.
Raccoons are pretty good, too. Kitty cat's still the best. That tiger that had rainbow stripes,
Yeah.
best. You can take your dolphins and your ice cream cones and your people faces.
Yeah, no, it's all the animals.
Now I just want to draw Lisa Frank-esque vampires and werewolves and cat people.
Well, see, if you Google this thing called Sparkle Dogs,
It actually exists already?
you will find Lisa Frank-esque werewolves.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, is that furry thing where they really, like, multicolored...
Like, basically what it is they're like... People traced Balto, the animated movie Balto, and then they give, like, the wolfish character, like, scenester hair that's, like, dyed bright colors and gives them earrings. And it's usually accompanied with a poem about how they're super hardcore, and, it's cute.
Awesome.
They also like to do those adoptable ones, where it's like, look at all these multicolored wolves, they can be yours.
Yeah, it's very much like, middle schoolers do it.
It's worth a Google search.
Yeah, if you like train wrecks.
All right, should we wrap this up?
Yeah, I feel like Sparkle Dogs is a good place to end.
Okay.
What a wonderful chat we have
I'm
had.
glad that we all talked about Circus Du Freak and that not very good Nicolas Cage's Harry Dresden movie.
And then a snippet of Valley Girl.
It seems like a wonderful teen film.
Important. It's right up there.
Yeah, all YA stuff.
Yeah.
We are the YA queens.
Woo!
Yeah.
All right.
Call us up for parties.
Thanks everyone for watching. And we'll be back 2 weeks from now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.